2:10 p.m. Monday, February 27, 2023. I just want to document kind of my thoughts. We've all been hearing about everything, seeing everything. Derailments, truck overturnment, turning, dumping, just hazardous chemicals somehow getting spilled in convenient areas where creekways are, that creekways to lead to all the major rivers in the United States of America. Somehow, some way, train derailments, plants catching on fire and exploding, tractor and trailer overturning. There's been like all these different things that have had the same conclusion in the news, and that is hazardous chemicals have leaked into the air, the water, and the soil. So it was just it's just too much to. I mean, it's not like this is breaking news to anybody or anything like that. It's just too much not to document. If you go to Jacob of Ephraim's channel, I did 2 videos with him discussing this, just pointing out all the suspicious stuff, and he lists the locations and the events better. I'm not going to try to do that right now. They were just very widespread in the same couple week period, from east to west coast, back and forth. There was everywhere, and all that's what makes it seem like a nationwide contamination. It seems like an attack on the water, to be honest. There's always the possibility that it's not real, that the problem is that people really can go throw a rock in the creek in East Palestine and have this oily, like that rainbow glary oily, something or other come up that's settled to the bottom. So at least there's some kind of contamination sitting at the bottom of the creeks in East Palestine for sure. But I think it's much more than that. I don't even think that has anything to do with them burning it or anything like that. I think that got rid of it from East Palestine, a lot of it, when they burned it, because it went up. You know what I mean? But it's not everywhere. See, everybody who gets rain think like it's raining right now, where I'm at. But I think when you're as close as I am, or when you're right in East Palestine or something, you probably, because they were able to track it on the radar. They seen it where it didn't go everywhere. It literally was one problem that moved. But the question is how much damage was done whenever that rain fell in the areas that it did fall in. That was like acid rain or whatever. But I have the water samples from East Palestine still. I haven't done anything with them. They're in sealed bottles, and then they're in sealed Ziploc gallon bags, and then they're in sealed up, tied up bags. Like the bottles inside the Ziploc, and the Ziploc's inside of a bag, and then the bag's inside of another bag, and they're just put up. I didn't know for sure on what they were spraying in there. I still don't know what they were spraying in there. Hopefully it's something that they're supposed to be, something that they could be non-harmful, that they could be treating the contamination with. Maybe that's why it's all settled to the bottom. Maybe it's like cleaning a pond, and instead of cleaning it, they're sinking it. Maybe they're spraying some kind of solution into the creek that binds to the contamination, and it sinks. Because that's what happens when you get rid of moss in ponds. You don't get rid of it, you put it all on the bottom. Anybody who fishes finds that out. It's very interesting to see the neglect from the public, though. Human beings are very neglectful creatures to their surroundings. Well, I do blame a lot of it being on the system in which we live in and stuff. It's very distracting, between the smart technology and everybody having to run around in a rat race just to survive financially. It seems to be designed for most of us not to catch on. But this is either a card being played that is contaminating all the water in the United States of America all in the same couple weeks span, or none of it's true, which I don't think so. I think it's true. I think the chemicals that they're saying on the news, I think that was nitric acid in Arizona. That was like that orangish, gassy cloud coming up from that tractor and trailer overturning. I think they're telling the truth about what's in all these things. I think all the chemicals they listed and possibly more that they didn't is really what's happened. And if that's true, then I just think it hasn't set in yet. And the contamination has not completely spread and not set in yet to people's tap waters. So the fact that it's not completely in a bunch of tap water yet, because it's still moving from the creekways to the rivers, and from the rivers to the tap water, and from the soil, takes a lot longer. Once it gets into it, once it contaminates, there's enough. There's a whole list of them too. It's not. It's like hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, butyl acrylate. There's these things called dioxidins or something like that that I've heard Jacob Aviv from and a few people talk about, that I googled real quick. That's a whole rabbit hole there. That's just great. And there's really no way that that's not what some of these chemicals are that are in the air, the water, and the soil. They are. They are. It's not a pretend story. It's not the media lying for a distraction to cause hype or anything like that. It seems that some nefarious group has definitely actually contaminated the water. What's up, Chico? I just mentioned you, brother. How you doing, buddy? Just documenting my thoughts a little bit, because I haven't really made a video since when I was in East Palestine, just saying what I think, just that it really is a mass event. All the train derailments, the chemical plant or factory or manufacturing plant fires and explosions, the tractor and trailer overturning with the nitric acid just plumbing out of it, and that gaseous like stuff that I think that really was nitric acid coming out of that truck that was overturned. And I know that if you throw a rock in the creek in East Palestine, that this rainbowy, oily look like contamination comes up off of the bottom of the creek. So there really is. I don't think that it's pretend. I think that that just hasn't set into everybody yet, because it hasn't completely reached. It hasn't reached many communities' tap water, and the ones that it has reached is like the one right next to me, Steubenville, Ohio, where they ran it in the local news, where they said local tap water contaminated with butyl acrylate. And they even put in like the little Facebook articles, and they said it on the local news station and stuff. They attributed it to the East Palestine incident, but nobody really cares. Nobody's really talking about it. Maybe it's not super harmful or anything like that, but if they detected some of that, then why would you think there wasn't something else too from that? If there was all this list of chemicals that were spilled, burned off, washed away, and all these, it's not just East Palestine, it's happening in all these places all over the country in different ways. Train derailments, chemical factories, tractor and trailers carrying hazardous chemicals like nitric acid, turning over and releasing all of it. Like it, I think it's real. I don't think, like, this is just me documenting my opinion, my thoughts. I'm not going to stay on here real long and keep hounding on it, but I'm I'm pretty positive myself. It would take a lot to convince me otherwise at this point, that there isn't some kind of like nefarious group carrying this out, and it was like planned events, and that this was all coordinated and connected together. The East Palestine, from all of them. I like I said, go to the videos. I just did 2 videos. Jacob E. from, he's in the chat right now. I did 2 videos discussing this with him, and he listed better the actual locations and the events. I'm just, just broad swiping it right now because I don't have anything in front of me, but it was quite a few, all in a couple weeks span, and they all had the same results. They were releasing hazardous chemicals into the environment. So I'm pretty sure it just hasn't really settled into the public yet. I just really think that many communities' tap waters have not been affected yet, so it's almost like a delayed reaction. The event has taken place already, but the reaction is yet to come, because it's going to be chaos too, because all first thing that's going to happen is every bottle of water, every jug of water on the shelves is going to get bought up in the first 24 hours, when it really sets into the public what happened, what already happened. I think it already happened. I think that they did enough. They wouldn't have did all that. They couldn't have all been a coincidence if it wasn't going to be enough to make a real effect. So I just think somehow, some way, the contamination really hasn't set in yet. At least not to the realization of everybody. So it there's no way that all that just happened and then everything's fine, the environment's fine, nothing to worry about. Like, that's impossible. That's impossible. I'm not that naive. I know that this was bad. I could see how it all happened right at the same time as each other. It doesn't take a genius to understand what just took place. So I'm not going to keep hounding about it. Go to Jacob of Ephraim. I did 2 videos discussing this where he had his screen up to where we were actually showing some things, some videos and stuff, so it's a lot more organized, a lot better. If you're actually looking for information on the East Palestine and other derailment and other hazardous chemical spills, explosions, tractor and trailer turnovers, like I said, there was a lot of events that took place. Jacob listed them on his video that I did with him, so go check that out. I don't know. I'm just trying to I don't think it matters. I don't think that this is something important. I'm just documenting my thoughts. Yes, I'm not going to pretend to try to repeat it back, but go to Jacob of Ephraim also for solar weather, because today, like, there's something going on, and he thinks that you should drink a lot of water. I'm not going to try to explain it, but there is a high energy event, solar event taking place. I believe geomagnetic storm is one of the terms of it, but I actually just got some water in the fridge, some bottles, after I talked to Jacob earlier. I also have heard that, and I'm being summoned, so I'm going to cut this off. I've also heard that our body, I don't know if it utilizes water better at room temperature. I don't know if that's true, but I can drink a lot more of it when it's cold. Just wanted to point that out because I said I put it in the fridge, and I don't know if that's exactly the right move or not, because then your body because your body temperature is a lot warmer than a liquid from the refrigerator is. So your body probably does have to adjust the temperature when you drink something cold. Your body has to get it to the temperature of your body probably before it really can utilize it too much. So I don't know, just something to think about. I don't really know either way what if I know the temperature of honey completely. If you heat honey, if you put honey in hot tea, if you freeze honey and you have honey at room temperature, like something about how it looks under a microscope or something, but honey, it completely changes. Something, if you Google it, you'll see there's something about honey that completely changes by the temperature of it. So it's something that I don't think everybody knows, but East Palestine was part of something a lot bigger. This is war, folks. This is war. Spiritual principalities in high places. Some kind of motives to some kind of group, organization, or entities, but something's causing this. This isn't coincidence. This isn't natural. Stay up.